welcome back to another episode of the Can't Afford a Therapist podcast. I am your host, Austin Piazza, and today with me is Zell from one of my more recently favorite podcasts, Alien Theorists Theorizing. What's going on, man?
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. I just want to jump right into it because I'm only at you for an hour, and I've got a ton of questions, actually.
I'm probably going to fail them all, but throw them out there.
Listen. The topic is extraterrestrials, and how do we call them UFOs now or UAPs? Do we get real nerdy about it?
Oh, I like the UFO term. UAPs seems a little
Too Poindextery.
Yeah, it's then UAP is like, to me, is it's an atmosphere phenomenon. That's usually what they
some swamp gas.
Yeah, some swamp gas or weather balloon. UFO is more fun.
Yeah, okay. All right, I agree with that too. So how do you guys like find all this stuff? Like how do you first, like, yeah, you have almost like 200 episodes, I think, or maybe over 200 episodes now. I just had it.
Yeah, I got like 225, 230 maybe.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of stories about UFOs. How do you get all this information? Where do you find it?
Yeah, well, they're not all UFOs, but yeah, probably like 85% of them are. Yeah. Usually when we first started, it was just all the main ones, all the ones you heard about, the Roswells and crop circles and all that. And then as we started getting listeners, people just send them like, man, you should check out this case. You should check out this case. Have you seen this documentary? Have you read this book? And then, yeah, we compile a list, which is now, I think there's probably like 400 more on there. Most of them have no information. That's the problem, though. They're like, happened to one guy in Yugoslavia in 1952, and it's one account, and then we go for it.
And he drew a picture. Like,
yeah, exactly.
That's all he's got.
Exactly.
That's pretty. Yeah, I kind of like follow UFO Twitter. I get the pings on Twitter, like to my phone whenever it comes up.
Yep.
But yeah, most of the things I think he's like, is atmospheric effects or mostly bullshit because there's no accounts of it. There's no real evidence of these kind of stuff unless you get to like you said, the more mainstream stories like Roswell or the more recent ones with the Navy and all these videos.
Yeah, the modern videos, the stuff that's been declassified.
What do you think? What do you think on this?
I would agree. I think probably like 95% is atmosphere or satellites or some type of exo phenomenon, something in space, something like that. Well, you did see a planet.
I think it's like all the more recent videos too. I think the Black Triangle videos, specifically, that the Navy put out, or not the Navy, or it was like from the Navy, or something.
Those delta-shaped craft.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that like could have been us or something, and they want to throw us off or something. And a lot of it's kind of sus too. But then you get like even Roswell's a questionable story. Especially when you look into like the Aztec spot, which is like 40 miles from Roswell or something like that.
Aztec UFO. Yeah, that's one actually we haven't done yet. It's still on our list to do.
Is it really? Have you looked up into it yet? Have you started researching?
Yeah, is that the one that it's like a bigger craft and it actually landed or something, right?
I think it might have crashed, but there was like 17 bodies or something like that, something ridiculous, and a couple of them are alive. And Roswell was a whole scam because they were trying to cover that up. It's a whole thing, but it's a fun story, and that's why I think I like this, because they are just fun stories.
Yeah, I'd agree. Mostly fun.
Yeah, and like when I first like really got into UFOs and extraterrestrials and stuff, it was like maybe about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, when the world started really going to shit. So I was like, what else could be there? Like, can I look outside, see if it's better? And guess what? It was a lot better. Off-world.
It's more fun to bury our earthly problems and just look for aliens.
It really is. So
it's just fun.
Because you have like literally nothing to work with, so it's all your just imagination. If you just are a little bit imaginative, it could be wondrous. You're like, oh, what do they look like? Like, what's this? What's that? Where do they come from? Are they already here? That's when you start getting into like the weirder questions and stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean it's endless, right? Because it's hard. You can't prove or disprove anyway. And if the galaxy is so vast, the universe is so vast, they could be anything. right? They could just be energy beings. They could be fucking tentacle monsters,
Yeah, like,
and
working
it
carbon.
leads for endless fun, endless conversation, and like and just endless wonder, really.
Yeah, yeah, and that's like I go through the Reddits and stuff. Every once in a while, you'll get to like some unhinged guy, and you can tell the guy's a little bit off his rockers or something because it's like 15 paragraphs, but it's the greatest read I've ever read on the internet. I'm like, holy shit, this guy was abducted by aliens. They probed him. They sent him to another place. Here's a map of everything he drew. It's wild usually, but like it's just like you said, it's fun. Um, what do you think is like I guess the most realistic of these stories that you guys have gone into so far?
Like an individual case.
Or I guess like let me make an easier question. I guess as a lot of different cases. What's your favorite one?
Oh man,
That's not an easy question
my
either.
favorite case. Well, the thing is, we're usually drunk when we record them, so I can only remember like the 10 before what we did before.
I think that's why I like them so much.
Let's see here. There was a sweet case somewhere in Brazil when there an actual death by abduction.
Really? Haven't listened to that
I'm
one.
I'm going to try and look back here because on the fly because that was an awesome one.
Google that too. And that's a thing too. When you start trying to Google these things online, you get like they mostly lead to nowhere or websites from the 90s or they look like from the 90s because they can't build a website. These people.
Yeah, well, they have been updated since GeoCities was the primary website builder.
I don't even know what that is.
GeoCities, yeah, it's like the original builder from like the 90s.
Yeah, that's pre my time on the computer. I mean, the only I don't even think I know any website builders besides the ones on the internet now, like the ones like Squarespace stuff like that.
Squarespace, Wix, WordPress, those are the main ones probably.
Yeah, like WordPress isn't like they're great. All right, so Brazil, I gotta like look this up because now I'm interested. So UFO death.
Yeah,
Oh, here we go. The Varginha UFO incident.
I don't even think that's the one I'm thinking of. That
No?
Keep that on the list because that might be a new one. Yeah, but there's no man. There's
This is a different one. Hold on, because this is beings captured by the Brazilian military, and that's you could just start googling different things and you find more stories, and that's what tends me to lead to believe like some of them they gotta be real.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of them are. I mean, even if you go back to like Project Blue Book, I don't know if you watched like they've done a show on it now.
I've watched a little bit on the History Channel. I haven't gotten really too much into it. I did want to watch the Tom DeLonge show that he produces, so Unclassified or whatever. Declassified.
Well, I haven't watched that one actually.
No?
I've just Tom DeLonge. I mean, I just followed his To the Stars Academy stuff. He's like, well, that group of people is actually the ones who released those declassified videos first, which I thought was kind of random. I was like, Tom DeLonge, Blink 182. What the fuck is this guy up to?
Well, everyone thought he was crazy for such like a long time because he left the band. He was like, I've got a big project to do, and I was like, all right, weirdo. And then 10 years later, he pops up with the director of like the CIA, the director of the NSA, 3 admirals, and then he's like, "Yeah, I've got declassified, or not declassified. I've like stolen videos from the Navy." We're like, well, "Wait, what?" He warned us. He did warn us, though. Fair enough. In like the 90s, he did write aliens exist.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been since he's been popular with Blink 182. He's been on the trail of UFOs. That's like it's been his passion. He's read and watched and done everything about him.
His like whole sleeve, I'm pretty sure, is alien based.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Sick, in my opinion.
He's actually just quit music altogether, and now he's just a UFO researcher.
But to go from like loon to fully vindicated, essentially overnight, is I wonder like how that makes you feel as a person too. He's not done with music. They just released Angels and Airwaves music. That's how they have to fund it, I guess.
Okay, so he's still doing Angels and Airwaves. Well, yeah, you need money, right?
Yeah, and people do.
It just came back to me. It's the Colares UFO incident in Brazil. If you're looking for that one was pretty fun. Yeah, deals with the death. What was it? What were we talking about? Tom DeLonge? Oh, To the Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all those videos, he pushes them out. Everyone's like, "You're crazy." And then just this summer, the Pentagon had like the declassified or the UFO Pentagon UFO report, and they're like, "Yeah, these are legit videos. They didn't say aliens, but they did not say aliens. They just said we don't know what these are, and that was it. And that came in the middle of a pandemic, and everyone said, "Meh, who cares?"
Yeah, don't. That's what the thing too is like. It was also kind of bullshit because there was nothing really involved with it. Did you happen to see the Australian one that came out maybe a couple weeks after? It had been on the internet for a few years, and then it started getting popular after the Pentagon report came out.
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
There, there's like a different stories and stuff like of sightings. The only thing that I really took away was like they were feline-faced extraterrestrials.
Amazing.
Yeah, I sent it to my friends. I go, Kashit's got wares if you have coin. I'm like, it's a whole Skyrim planet, probably.
Well, a lot of people say there's like hundreds of different ones, and they're all coming here, visiting, taking people. That one. Have you ever heard of Corey Good?
No.
So Corey Good was like part of the secret space program, and there's a colony on Mars, and they age regress you back to your original form, and they put you back on Earth, so no one knows who you are, and you assume a new identity. It's
Those
awesome.
are my absolute favorite ones.
So fun.
The Dulce base story.
Oh yeah, Nightmare Hall.
Oh my god, where there's a so for those who don't know about the Dulce Air Force Base UFO extraterrestrial incident, apparently like underground the Dulce base, like 50 miles underground, there was a war between I guess the Men in Black, the real Men in Black from the movie, and like 9-foot tall aliens with shooting lasers. People's hands are shot off. It's a wild story, but then like it's all. I think Richard Doty made that all up or something, right? Was that the story that he
No,
made up?
it was the Dulce base was Philip Schneider, and he claimed it was seven levels deep. On the seventh level at the bottom is where they kept aliens, and to study their tech or whatever. And one day the aliens got pissed. They started shooting people with fucking laser guns. Philip Schneider got his hand blown off, and he actually does like have his hand blown off. Like he has like 2 fingers, but it could have been from anything.
It could have been born like exactly. It could have been born like that.
But in the end, after he actually broke that story, or he told that story, he was strangled to death.
I didn't know that ending. I didn't know how that was how it ended.
Pretty sure he was strangled to death, and the circumstances were not really known. So goes the story.
I mean, and then those are the kind of stories that make you like, huh? I wonder what the fuck's going on then, because they always die under mysterious circumstances. The people with the craziest stories, like he shot himself 3 times in the back of the head.
Yeah,
questionable, I think.
He killed himself, and they found him stuffed in a gym bag. You're like, all right.
He locked himself in a suitcase and threw himself off a bridge.
Yeah. No, and that's why.
Insanest suicide I've ever seen.
And that's pretty much why we do the podcast. It started not as a joke, but just as like, what should we do for a podcast? And that was right when Ancient Aliens was like just coming out. And we're like, who are these ancient alien theorists or ancient astronaut theorists? And we're like,
we could expert. Yeah,
we could be those guys, I think.
I mean, at this point, I would consider you, the 4 of you, actual experts at this point. Going the amount of cases you guys have broken, and you said you have 400 more to go through.
I think there's unlimited topics.
And then because there's always new ones too.
There's always a new story. I mean, only like 1% actually have like some type of article or video or something to go off of. But those ones are almost more fun with no evidence, because then you can go wild. Our show is about theorizing, like just, well, what if this? We always take a topic and run with it.
Just having fun, and like that's like the best part about the podcast, because it's I didn't know you guys were drinking the time too. That makes it, because it's just like what I do with my friends. We're sitting all around, we're smoking a little bit of weed. We're like, yo, what's out there? Like, I don't know, man.
Oh, dude, when we first started, I think the first 40 episodes, because we didn't have a steady schedule, it was just whenever we could do it, and whenever we could do it usually was like party night. So 6-8 beers and a few doobies, and then we're talking about simulation theory, and 3 hours later, like, oh, what the fuck did we just talk about?
absolutely nothing but everything at the same time.
Exactly.
It's great, and but that's why it's so like relatable because these conversations are what's being had because, like I said, I got into it because things kind of sucked here. Like, well, things probably are better out there. Let's take a look.
It's got to be something better out
Gotta
there.
be something better. I don't know if you're familiar with the Chapo Trap House, guys.
No.
No, they're like a political podcast. They're from Brooklyn. For some, like I think their 420 episode this year, they were talking about aliens, and they're
Nice.
like the reason why they come here is because we're the only planet with Kush. And I'm like, yep, that's definitely the reason. And I've been running with that for a couple months now. That's my new theory.
The theory of everything is just the universe is trying to mine THC, and we're one of the few planets that have it.
We're the only planet that has
We're the only planet. All the ET species are coming here trying to pick some up.
Just to get blazed and clap some alien cheeks. That
Why
was
not?
what the whole Storm Area 51 was all about. They were trying to give them the weed. I'm telling you,
I was hoping that would have materialized to more. Not that they would actually storm it and got shot, but like
maybe so, yeah, like somebody would have gotten in the government got a little nervous, like all right. Here's a little bit of evidence. Like just don't storm our base, please.
yeah, here's a video. Here's a new video for you. We actually went as part of the podcast to the gate of Area 51, not for that storming, but like we went to Vegas, and part of the reason we went there was like, hey, we're gonna rent a car and we're gonna drive to the gate and we're gonna touch it.
Did you guys touch it?
I didn't touch it, but because we got there and there was some other dummies there touching the gate, and we're like, okay, let's let them touch it. We went to the gate, we took pictures in front of it, and as soon as we left the gate, like we followed these guys out, and out of fucking nowhere, a white truck just comes out of the desert, launches onto the road out of the ditch, and chases these guys, and we're just like behind. I guess because we didn't touch the gate or like cross the line, we just like went out, and these guys are just booking it, and these guys are chasing them for like 10 minutes down this dirt road.
Why would they run? That's the thing that confuses me is in that situation, if you fucked up, you shouldn't have touched the gate first off. But now there's, like you said, dudes that came out of nowhere in a van. Like, you know who they are and you know where they're coming from. Just say sorry at that point and get the hell out of there. Like,
well, I mean, there's so many videos of people this happening to people that people go there just to touch the gate to get chased.
Really, I didn't know that.
But that was part of the reason we went, and the only reason we didn't because these guys were there before us and they had just touched it and they were leaving. We're like, well, let's just see what happens. And sure enough, exactly what happens on the internet. This fucking white truck, special security forces come flying out of the desert and just full on gun it down the road. And my theory is these guys have nothing better to do, like the security, and they're waiting for this to happen. Some bunch of dummies. These guys are in a minivan and they're just chasing them out because they actually didn't cross the line. So they really didn't trespass. They just touched the gate. And then I think for the security forces, it's just fun, something to do. They're watching from either like a drone or a camera, and they're like, oh yeah, here's some more dummies, get ready. And then boom, they chase them out, they turn around, they go and they crack a beer, and that's their day.
Yeah, it's what else? You're sitting in the desert, probably in an unair conditioned. You're working for the government, so it's unair conditioned building. You're hot, You're sweaty. There's nothing to do. Let's go fuck with some of these guys.
Yeah,
that's what I would do.
That's for sure what I think those guys are up to. Those security forces, they're just waiting for these guys to touch it.
Did you guys go to any other places in your Vegas trip, like for UFO? Because I know there's a couple spots.
No, we only had 3 days, and that was the only. It was kind of like that'd be like a 5-hour round trip. So like not too far, but far enough. Like all right, time for drinking, and then that was it. I think we went to like the Atomic Age Museum, or I can't remember what it's called. But like they have like the history of the atomic age, like from the development of the bomb, and they have like the old prototype bomb, and so we checked that out. That was pretty sweet.
I have family out there, so I was there when they were actually building that or something. It was like a whole thing.
Yeah, so I think that's the only other thing we did. Other than that, we just had the Vegas experience, met some fans. Pretty much it.
Man, the Vegas experience is, I guess, is out of this world in its own self. I'm sorry for the shitty pun.
I like it. That was perfect.
I want to talk about, I think, like, 2 cases that I'm particularly, I think, are the most realistic or the most, like, I guess, make sense to me that would have happened. It's the Betty and Barney Hill story.
Oh, yeah?
And
Classic.
yeah, because it's the first one, right?
It was the first one that probably got international attention.
So and they're when I think of it, I'm like they seemed like an older couple at even during the time. Where would they have heard this information to recreate this story to make this headline, right? So I think I'm like it's probably happened. Why does the college have the dress, the bust, all this other stuff, too? It makes you think.
Well, yeah, that one's cool. Because that one started. That was like the first case with missing time, like a missing time abduction, and then in her hypnosis, she claims to have seen like Zeta Reticuli as
Yeah,
the
she
star
tells
system
what
where they
happened
came from.
before it was discovered. Like,
Yeah.
if that doesn't make you go like, wait, what the fuck happened? Nothing will.
Yeah, so that one was a fun case. I mean, they're I think they went to Canada for vacation. They're on their way back and they just lose like 4 hours of time. It's like they see a light, they stop, lose time, and then boom, they're back, and then they get hypnosis. And it's been a while since I did that one, but yeah, she claimed that they showed her like a map room and like this is the star system we're from. And
But then then when you hear stories like of abductions and they come back with, oh yeah, they showed me all of this. They told me the history of this. Why? That's my first question. Like, who are you? Like, why would they tell you this?
yeah, are you an astrophysicist? No, she was not.
No. You just they're like, do they think like everybody's smart since they're all smart? Like, I don't know, maybe, but like sometimes they're just picking up some random asshole. He's been a known liar his whole life, and he dropped out of high school, doesn't give a fuck, like all this other shit. And then he's gonna be like, yeah, no, I know the history of the world. Like, nah, fuck off, dude. You don't know shit.
Yeah, and that's where you get into like, because a lot of the stuff comes back through regressive hypnosis. So like either like far after the event, they get hypnotized and they recount their memories. But now, like in modern times, we know that's like that they can't use that for anything.
Yeah,
because the human brain is just so imaginative. Like you could just you could put together like 1,000 memories and recount it as a true tale in hypnosis, and no one could tell the difference.
Well, even like eyewitness accounts too are written off because it's all made up because it's what they think they saw or something like that.
Well, yeah, eyewitness accounts, like unless you write it down right away or you record it right away, then yeah, your mind will start filling in your memories the longer you wait because you can't remember everything. Like it's impossible.
Yeah.
Unless you have some type of photographic memory, like 1 in a million.
Which is like I said, very rare. And the other story, which I don't really know much about, so I'll give you my like knowledge of the case, and if you know more, we'll talk about it. The Tim Walden, is his name Tim Walden? Is like the lumberjack that got blown up by the UFO and they brought him inside.
Oh no, that's what's his name? Travis Walton.
Walton. Yeah, I was like, why
Travis
do I know the name? I'm like, what Tim Hortons? I'm thinking of.
Well, that is probably the most famous UFO case.
Yeah, I only recently found out about that for some reason. And so here's what I know: is he's just a lumberjack. A UFO is, I guess, in some sort of distress or like needs technical repair, and they like blast him with radiation. And he gets fucked up, and they bring him inside and fix him. That's all I really know. But the way he retells the story and the way he like says, "Oh yeah, I saw the tall ones, the little ones, everything," and they were kind of panicking. Sounds maybe I'm like, oh shit, like. No, if I was a person trying to fix my car and it exploded and hurt the person next to me, I would try and save them too.
Yeah, no, that's one of the most famous cases. They made a movie, Fire in the Sky, based on it. And yeah, he was a young lumberjack. He was like 20 years old. There's like 6 other dudes. They're going to the cut block. He sees this blue light, and for some reason, he's the only guy who gets out. He's like, "Listen, guys, I'm going to investigate this UFO." He walks over to it. All of a sudden, a blue light beam shoots him. He goes flying through the air. Limp body falls on the ground. All his buddies, fuck that, he's dead. And they just leave him. And then 5 days later, he shows up and they get a call. He's like, he's 20 miles down the road in a phone booth. He's like, "Guys, I'm back. Like, come pick me up." And yeah, he's got 5 days of growth. Obviously, he's been gone for 5 days, so he has a beard. And his story is, yeah, he was abducted. He was experimented on. He's seen tall grays, little grays. They probably extracted his genetic material, and that's his story. He's stuck to it the whole time. And I mean, I don't know if I believe him. A couple of reasons. One, I met him in person, and he's a super weird dude, like really weird. But that could be because he had such a post-traumatic stress incident from being abducted that it ruined him for life.
It could be a way to explain it. Could be that he's just really weird and has this great imaginative storytelling ability.
Yeah, I don't know. So we actually met him at like an event called Alien Con in California.
Awesome.
Shook his hand, talked to him for a few minutes. Number one, really, really limp handshake, like really bad. So right there, I was like,
Yep, right there.
Can't believe him. Didn't, you need a firm handshake right off the bat, man, for believability, right?
It's the trust. It builds trust.
Builds trust.
Actually,
but he did.
I learned a little. Sorry to cut you off real quick. Just a history of handshakes. I don't know if you've ever seen Love on the Spectrum on Netflix. No, it's people who are on the spectrum. It's a dating show for people on the spectrum. It's a great show. It's one of the most sweet, beautiful shows I've ever seen in my life. One of the guys on the show is like, yeah, I only like things that are like historically like have meaning. So handshakes. There's a reason why you do it with your right hands. You held your sword with. And he was like, so they don't know you're gonna stab them. I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so if it's limp, like, maybe he's gonna fucking stab you anyway. Maybe he's got something hidden. Maybe he's lying to you.
Yeah, but and then on the other spectrum, like he was on Joe Rogan too. Like he told a story on the biggest podcast net audience in the world, and he never really changes his story. It's been the same the whole time. So like if he did get abducted, I mean, he's never changed. I can't remember the specific details, but we did that case a while ago, and there was some like insurance thing with the loggers if like there was a cut block and there was 100 ground. There was like a little bit of financial incentive for them to fake it. I can't remember the exact details because that's like part of the debunking side. We looked at all sides, but he's never really changed his story. He passed lie detector tests. I mean, those aren't admissible in court anymore. I mean, you can fake them, clench your ass cheek or whatever it is. But I mean, he's never changed his story. And if I don't know, I think that might have been from Seinfeld or something. But yeah, he's never changed his story, and like he sticks by it. And he is super weird. So maybe it's just the trauma of being abducted. Like that's who he is now. So I'm somewhere in the middle, believing and not believing that one.
I guess related to the story, question for you. I already know my answer. If you're in a situation where you and your boys from the podcast, you're all driving, right? You see this blue light. You're the only one that gets out of the car.
No chance.
No, all right, okay, good. Me neither. I'm gonna be like, keep fucking going. I don't need to know. I that could be the New York in me. Just like that's none of my business. That's over there. I'm over here. Let's keep it that way.
No, we're all pretty big pussies on the show, so we might stop from a distance, try and snap a quick blurry photo or video, and keep on moving. But there's no way in hell I'm getting out and be like, I got this, guys. Just going running out into the field like I'm going to touch this motherfucking thing. Yeah, like no chance. There's no way. After all the stories I've heard of UFOs and alien abduction, the last thing I'm doing is going to look for it and try and touch the craft. Because actually, I think that's what it was. I think he actually did try and touch the craft or some shit. Oh, no, that was actually a different case. That was Rendlesham Forest. But you ever heard of that one?
No.
Okay, that's a pretty good case too.
Let me just tell you what my Spotify episodes look like. There's 75 episodes in here right now. Like 35 of them is your show. We've got so many different ones I want to listen to. Yeah, here we go. Operation Northwoods, Battle of L.A., Gobekli Tepe, Skinwalker Ranch. Like the Akashic Records is the one I'm halfway through right now. There's just there's so much shit. Again, Battle of L.A. Another thing in like why there's never been like a combat situation in the United States except for that one, really, and they don't fucking talk about it.
That was like the only they thought it was an invasion of the U.S. Besides Pearl Harbor, that was the only other they thought invasion of the United States.
Yeah.
And there was A UFO at nighttime. They shown spotlights on it. They fired like 1,500 mortar shells. People actually died from heart attacks from the panic. Like it was that traumatic of an incident that people died from heart attacks. Like, oh fuck, we're gonna die. Here comes the Japanese. They're gonna bomb us. People were dying. They blacked out the city to try and get better views. That was a pretty crazy event. And then in the end, they said that was a weather balloon or a blimp. And you're like, you shot 1,500 like flak shells, like they explode in the air to take down aircraft, and this thing, nothing happened. That was a pretty cool case too.
Yeah, and they're saying that they debunk it because the picture was painted. That's how they edited photos back in the day.
They changed the contrast to make it look like more of an object than it was. It might have been a cloud, and they thought it was an object just because the hysteria of the times. Like they thought it could have been the Japanese. So they had some weird like atmospheric signal bounced the radar off in a circle through the clouds as an electrical storm, and then they shot at it. But I was like, 1,500 rounds? Like, you didn't shoot a few test rounds and be like, oh, it's nothing. They're like, no, just everything we got.
Yeah.
Fucking send her, boys.
I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money worth of shit. Like, and you're just fucking in Los Angeles. It's not like it's they're testing it in the middle of desert Nevada. It's
like second most populated city in the States. Just
one of the
blowing
most
up the
highest
sky.
GDP in the country. Yeah, that unbelievable. All right.
Yeah, that's a fun one. That was actually one. That was a fun one to do.
Yeah, dude,
Been a while.
I have so many of these episodes on here. It's ridiculous. I have so much to catch up on.
There's a lot, man. There's a lot out there. It's endless. There's always a new case.
Yeah, the truth is out there. That's what I named this episode. I've been promoting it with like the X-Files music. I even photoshopped myself onto Alex Jones when he's got the tinfoil hat.
That's a great one.
I was gonna wear a tinfoil hat. My mom got very upset. She was like, "Don't you waste my tinfoil." so we didn't do that. So all right, we got about maybe 15, 20 minutes left. So I want to just ask, because I see where you're sitting. You're in a music studio. Clearly, you got a giant Fender stack behind you, a bunch of XLR cables. When you do the podcast and like, I guess when you work and stuff like your normal day to day, what gets you through? Do you listen to podcasts? Are you listening to music?
Yeah. So, I mean, we had a paying gig with Spotify for a while, so I spent most of the pandemic just doing podcasts, and then that expired for reasons I won't get into today. But yeah, so I'm a carpenter actually by trade.
Okay.
So a fishing carpenter. So yeah, I stick in earbuds and I listen to a ton of podcasts, audiobooks, and music. I mean, I can't listen to 8 hours of music, but I can't listen to 8 hours of podcasts or audiobooks either. So I guess I'm like a 50-50 split.
I'm switching it up too during the day. Yeah, so I'm a janitor during my day job. So
yeah, you got to pay the bills, man.
Yeah, listen, and I got you guys in one ear usually, or I'm listening to whatever shows or music. I got my playlist, so I have like I take pride in my Spotify playlist that I build.
Nice.
This one that I have, it's called All Over the Map, and I've just been collecting hits, compiling hits. It's about 47 hours long right now, and
nice.
I've never really done this except for this playlist. I usually like segregate my music by like genre. I'm like, so folk will go here, hip hop here, rock here. No, this one is a mishmash because my one friend is like, yeah, no, I don't separate my music. Everything's on one list. I'm like, what do you mean everything's on one list? He goes, here, let me show you. Kanye West, Celebration. No. I'm like, wait, what do you mean Celebration? He's like, the song Celebrate Good
Times. Come on.
Yeah. I'm like, how do you have that following up? He was like, I love it. I'm like, that's mental illness.
No, you gotta set your mood.
No, chaos. Chaos is the mood for this playlist, and it's fantastic. Because, like I said, for me, it's only hits. So I'm singing along and I'm riding my bike. That's why it's called All Over the Map. It's for my bike, and that's why it's so long. So I don't have to go through it. It just keeps playing anything random. But sometimes I'll hit like a stride around like mile 3 or something like that, and a song will hit. I'll be like, Jolene, like on my bike in the middle of the street. People are looking at me. I'm like, I can't. I'm in the zone. Leave me alone.
Dude, that song Jolene is one of our favorite songs to play as a band as a cover.
Are you guys? Wait, don't tell me. You guys are a band too, or is that a separate thing?
Oh, I play in a band
Okay.
separate from the pod.
I was like, don't tell me you guys are in a like doing an
Hmm.
alien band too.
No. That's my separate thing. I started the band and the podcast at the exact same time.
What kind of
Two
music is
separate.
the band, and what is the band?
Yeah, I play in a rock and roll band called Lucky Monkey,
Lucky.
and I actually see a couple of guitar heads poking up over there.
Yeah,
What do you
I
got there?
have. So this is my newest one.
Bass,
I got a bass, acoustic guitar. Behind me is some.
telly,
No, it's not a telly. So it looks like one. Legally,
telly cut.
I don't think it can be called a telly. No, it's the G&L ASAC Classic. So, do you know anything about G&L?
No.
G&L is Leo Fender's company after he sold Fender.
Okay, that's what. Yeah, it's like pretty much the same cut.
Yeah, it's pretty much. It's kind of like rounder at the edges. Because he sold the Telecaster. He couldn't make it exactly like it. So that's
Yeah,
the ASAC Classic, and it's his like superior version of the Telecaster. I don't know.
nice.
It was like $400 cheaper than a Fender, and it was online. It was saying it was much better. So
Well, I mean, electric guitars, you can buy a $500 guitar, put $300 pickups on it, and you got yourself a $2,000 guitar.
so the other one here is like a really old. It's too far away. It's like a really old Epiphone Les Paul.
Nice.
It had a roof collapse on it. It's been fucked up. It needs a lot of work to get fixed. But with that being said, I'm gonna change the pickups to like Gibson pickups, and it's just gonna be just as good.
Oh yeah, put some classics, some 57s in there, some P90s or
So, all right. Well, I got you here real quick. Totally off topic. What's your take on P90 pickups? Because I was thinking about getting some.
I've actually never played. I never had a guitar with them. I
Really?
played some. I played a an LTD with them. I mean, for me, guitar is all about the player. You can choose whatever guitar and pickups and amp. It's all in the feel of the hands. I think you can make great music with any guitar and any pickups. That's my personal take. I don't subscribe. I play a Gibson SG. That's the only guitar I've ever bought. It's the only guitar I ever play just because I'm cheap. But if I had the money, I would have guitar porn all over the studio. It'd be 40 guitars hanging behind me, and I'd play them once a year.
That's what that collection is. I play what
This
I can, but it's hard. Um, so I just follow you guys. What kind of music do you guys play? The Funky Monkey, right? Is it Funky Monkey?
Lucky Monkey.
Lucky Monkey. Sorry.
That's part of the reason we chose that name, so it throw people off. Oh, we played in a rock band. It's like
Standard rock band.
well, like we if I was gonna genreize myself, it'd be like a modern 70s rock band.
Sweet. I'm gonna check that out. Do you mind if I play music
Nah,
for an intro?
pick whatever song you want.
Sweet.
Yeah, we're actually. I mean, obviously, all bands got absolutely devastated by good old pandemic.
Yeah.
So we haven't played live in what, like 19 months now.
That's
But we've written like I don't know, 40 songs,
which
and we're
yeah, which is I've had a couple people like a couple band guys on already and spoke to them. That's what they said. This pandemic, yeah, kind of sucks that they couldn't perform and like really make a living doing the touring and selling their
money.
merch. Yeah, any money
Yeah.
at all, which fucking sucks. But they said they had the time that they had. Like the one guy is like, I worked on 3 different projects, 3 different bands. We got so much done. His album came out. That's a rare opportunity to actually put out a bunch more content. Which it sucks you're not making money at the moment. In the long run, it does generate more though. Weird kind of concept.
Yeah, it's just. I mean, the 1 year off was fine. Like the 1 year off, write a new album, prep a new show, new hour and a half headliner show or a 45-minute support show, and then after the year, like, all right, time to play, and then it just never came back. Still, hopefully soon though. I think we got a few shows in November. We'll probably just stick local here for a while though. I don't think there'll be too many tours cracking.
There's shows are starting to finally come back here in New York. And comedy apparently was trucking through the entire pandemic. But they just like switched to outside, rooftop stuff. Like, I only just started going back to doing stand up, and it's still there's people doing it, but it's not nearly as much as you would think, and there's not really people going out to see it like unless they're other comics. trying to get
Wait,
stage
because
time.
wasn't that that's the New York comedy scene, right? Like one comic you can do like hit like 5 spots in a night and do 20 minutes at each spot kind of thing. Or
I'm not at that level yet. I'm doing 5 minute open mics and stuff like that.
yeah, but that's how it was pre-pandemic. Right, there's so many spots. Like one like touring comic could just hit like 5 or 6
Five or
clubs in the
six, yep.
night.
And a lot of these clubs are within a mile or two of each other.
Yeah, I mean that I've never been in New York. I've actually never been East Coast at all. But
Missing out. It's
for,
a great
for,
time.
for like yeah, for music and comedy, one of the meccas. I'd love to check it out one time.
So, just back to music, real quick.
Yeah, love it.
Are you metal at all?
I grew up metal, and I've kind of shifted away. I mean, because no one wants to play. Hard to make money playing metal.
Yo, 100%. No
But
one listens to it.
yeah, I when I yeah high school, early college, I was a metal guy.
Okay, so the reason I asked because there's a band that I know that marries the two, metal and aliens.
Oh shit.
It's called
Okay.
Rings of Saturn.
No, but here, let me
They
fucking
are
say that right.
they are a brutal death metal band, I guess. So it's like it's
I,
stuff like that, crazy shit. But it's all about like aliens and the galaxies and the cosmos. It's fucking sick.
Rings of Rings of Saturn.
Rings of Saturn.
Oh, here they are, right here.
It's a dope ass band. I really enjoy it.
I never got like into like the dark or thrash or like black metal. Not so much. Well, I get it. I did get into like the metalcore genre there for a bit, and then I kind of just slowly shifted more into like blues rock, hard blues rock. It's like
Like
that's my playing style now.
your
I'd say.
music taste aged like a fine whiskey. I would say. We go from
Yeah, but I got mad respect for metal players because they are probably the most talented bunch out there. They're like jazz players, but they play super fast and super distorted, and it's awesome.
yeah, and most of the time it's on like 12 string or 9 strings too. And so they're like
Oh yeah, you're dropped low. You're playing 7, 8, 9 string guitars, and you're doing like 8 finger sweeping, tapping arpeggios. You're like,
yeah.
how are these guys even play this?
Oh, dude. All right. I'm all over the place, but real quick, just while we're on the topic of Rings of Saturn, they're technically not metalcore, deathcore, or anything, but they're technically, if you're getting specific, alien core.
Love it.
It's a whole genre of
A whole new genre.
it's a whole new genre, like derived from metalcore and hardcore, just about like space and aliens. And it's sick.
That's
It's
all.
so fucking sick. I love it so much. But
Rings
metal
Saturn
tastes
on my list.
metal tastes like I read something recently. It's pretty much what like your first metal song that you like. Oh, what is this? If it was like thrash, that's it. You're a thrash guy. If it was metalcore, congratulations. You could evolve into one of the other cores. That's pretty much it. Like you can have an appreciation, but you'll always have that bias towards that one that started you off on.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah,
What you're introduced to when you're young, especially, is like that becomes your identity when you're young.
yeah.
And then at post college though, I found myself expanding my musical horizons quite a bit. I'm like, oh, there's more than just double kick and breakdowns.
Is there though? Is there?
Well, it depends. It depends who you ask. But no, I love it. I love it. I just love music, man. Good music's good music.
I always say that too. People ask me all the time, like, "Oh, what's your favorite like band or genre?" One, I say my favorite band is Sublime because I have them tattooed on my body. I feel like that's just a simple answer.
It's fair.
But
You committed to that one.
But like it's always changing. Like the way I listen to music too. So that all over the map podcast or playlist that I have is very rare. Typically, it's I go by genre and by like generations, I guess. So very recently, I was in a '70s funk. Just that was it. Oh, that's all
Were you playing bass?
No, I was
You
just
playing?
listening to it, not even playing.
Oh, listening. Oh, yeah.
Fully, I was just like I felt like Jackie Moon for like 2 months. Just it was great. I don't know what turned it on. I don't know what it was for. I fucking loved it. It was I had a great time, but I haven't listened to it since. So I'm pretty much running out of things to talk about here. We hit all our pretty much topics and everything I wanted to talk about. So do you have anything to plug? Anything to say?
Oh, dude, I could talk forever. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a new podcast, if you want to sift through the one of the millions out there now, you can check out my podcast with three of my good buddies, Alien Theorists Theorizing. Or if you're looking for some new rock and roll, search Lucky Monkey anywhere you stream music. That's pretty much it. I'm on Instagram, but I don't check it, so I'm not even gonna give it a shout out. Who cares?
Appreciate you checking the DMs though for an answer.
Yeah, that it takes me a while sometimes, so that's my apologies for getting back to you.
Listen, dude, you don't have to. Just to give you a little bit too much over personal share, but that's what a podcast is for. Whenever I hit you up like 2-3 weeks ago, my job has been turned upside down into total chaos. For listeners that have like followed the storyline of my job, my building I work in was sold. That's Married with Children by Clitoris or Kiltoris. Metal. Another reason why I like metal is the ridiculous ass names.
Fair.
As I was saying, my building was sold to a company that hates unions. I'm in a very powerful.
I listened to that. I listened to that episode with that one buddy you're talking about unions. Yeah. I know a bit.
Yeah. So you followed one of the stories. So listen, it's even worse because now they're going to war with the union. They're not signing contracts. We all might get fired. So this all happened in like 3 weeks. I'm like, I don't even have time for a fucking podcast. But everything's just starting to settle down now. So I'm like, all right, let's chat.
Is there no like amendment in the Constitution in the states for unions, or like they can just get rid of you?
It's different. I don't even know. But my boss is under the assumption, and so is the unions under the assumption they can. It's a buyout or it's a purchase. They don't have to. I went to school for music and communications. I don't know jack shit. So,
yeah, that seems weird. I mean,
if I can get a severance package, and I get paid off to go away. I'll
yeah, I mean, they would have to do that. I mean, in Canada, there's like you have the right to form or join a union regardless of anything. But there is
in New York, you have that, but they also have like they'll be able, for some reason they have this ability not to sign the contract. I think I may be wrong. It sounds wrong.
Well, the more money they have and the better lawyers, I mean, you can always skirt around laws, right? So,
especially here.
Unions, and my opinion about unions is unions shouldn't have to form. The employer should just pay you perfectly right away.
We don't. I mean, Canada's much better than what we got going on down here because some states, without even getting really deep into it, some states are like right to work states. They like you could get fired at will for no reason. Like you don't have to join the union, and that's how unions have been weakened over the years, like over the decades here. Is like some places that you don't have to pay dues to be in the union, or like you get involved with the union, so they're weakening them with the finances. There's a bunch of laws. Then there's corruption in the union. So I used to live in D.C. And I worked at C-SPAN. C-SPAN's in a building right across the street from the Capitol. Next door to C-SPAN is one of the nicest buildings in D.C. It's the Teamsters Union. Directly across the street, that's the most powerful union in the country, in my opinion.
Okay.
Directly across the street from the Capitol building. I'm like, if that's not saying something, I don't know what is. So just like Teamsters are like drivers and stuff like that. Like that's the best job you can get in New York City is a driver for production. These guys, I worked on a couple productions. These guys sit, smoke cigarettes, watch Netflix, and make $60 bucks an hour plus overtime.
So that's part of the reason some people hate unions is because the stronger the union, the less incentive to work hard because you can never get fired.
Well, like that's their job though. Is
to
chill and wait until someone needs a lift and then they'll drive you somewhere, but that's it.
Yeah, it's I mean, I never been in a union, so I don't have any inside information.
From what I got so far, I'm gonna be upset when I'm kicked out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was joining a union, it'd be the United Brotherhood of Carpenters, and most of those guys don't like paying the dues, so they never join.
And that's another problem. You're told about all like the dues. I pay $70 a month. I have full health coverage. I don't pay for glasses. I don't pay for my teeth. I think that's fair.
Oh, that's fair. I mean, yeah, because America's much different as far as medical and health benefits.
Sucks here for medical and shit like that. It's because you get scared. I broke my foot on my job, and like I was terrified, but thank God like I qualified for workman's comp. I got paid, but I was like, oh, what am I supposed to fucking do? I'm like work with a broken foot. Like I have health insurance, but like I need money.
Yeah, it gets a little squirrely there. Yeah, it's different countries, different views on workers, but for the most part, I mean, America's still the freest nation on the planet, so you got that for you.
we're trying, I guess. We're doing our best.
I mean,
Yay!
Canada's got a fine line between full socialism and open market going on sometimes, but we we skirt the line.
I don't know too much about Canada. I know there was just an election, and Trudeau's not too happy about the results. That's all I.
No one's happy, and that's why elections, no one's ever happy,
That's why.
ever.
That's why we like aliens, because it's so fun, and we can have a debate. And guess what? You think aliens are blue, and I think they're purple. Doesn't matter. Doesn't fucking matter. Like,
Both could be right.
yeah, we both could be right. We both could be wrong. We could, but we're not gonna hate each other because of the outcome. Because it's fun. It doesn't affect anything. That's why. I don't know. That's why I like UFO stuff. But
Yeah, that's why we like it too. We were doing conspiracies as well. We've kind of shied away because they've got so shitty. It started with flat Earth, and then it went to QAnon, and now it's COVID hoax.
it's like
And you're like,
just QAnon, right? Yeah, COVID hoax is kind of QAnon-y.
well, yeah, because QAnon never really, the storm never came. So then it switched to this is part of this. This is the storm. Is this big hoax, and they're gonna steal all your stuff, and you're gonna have nothing. You're gonna love it.
I
Like,
love the vaccine.
what do you mean?
The vaccine conspiracies. They're so funny.
Oh, dude, like I understood some of the vaccine at the start. I mean, many people were hesitant, even though I couldn't have got it. I was like, oh shit, it's a new vaccine. Oh shit, and then you're like, all right, whatever. Like I got 100 other ones in my body.
I was like,
Whatever.
I'm a frontline worker. I was in the subway the whole time. I was like, fucking, give me a chip. Give me a chip.
Shoot it in.
Upgrade me if you want. I don't care. No, but my take on it, because like one of my coworkers is not a big fan of the vaccine, but he likes to work out and take all these supplements. I'm like, yo, I used to take supplements from GNC. I
Yeah.
go, you know what's in there, right? Nothing in there is federally approved. I go, I'm pretty sure at 16 years old I was taking steroids that I bought over the counter.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was the whole vaccine thing became political, and that's what happened.
And that's everything nowadays, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Even
I
though
blame
love
social
politics, social media is a horrible thing. Horrible thing.
It's a double-edged sword. It's the greatest thing to happen to humanity, and also the worst at the exact same time. The ability to communicate with anyone, anywhere, anytime with your friends, in video calls and all that. That's amazing. But also at the same time, anyone can be a journalist. Also not great. So
Yeah, there was
like,
before actually, because we're actually almost at an hour now, and I try to cap it at an hour. There was a guy with 17 followers. I think it was maybe the 2020 or 2016 election. I forget which election, but he just goes, this thing was stolen here, and it blew up, and it made the news. He was like, yeah, no, I lied. I have 17 followers. I thought it would be funny.
yeah,
And he's like, I'm sorry to cause
that's
a
what it is.
national incident. Like,
Yeah, it's like I did my research. Like, did you do your research? Did you take all the articles? Did you dissect them? Did you check all the authors? Did you really do it? No, you didn't do it. There's no fucking chance. There's no chance you did your research. I didn't do mine either, so I'm not going to say I did. So you should just not say you did either.
Exactly. You can have an opinion on it. Just don't say I did
Yeah.
my research.
Yeah, you can say it. I think this. You're like, that's fine.
Cool.
But you're like, I did my research, and this guy said, like, there's no, you didn't. You didn't do it. That guy you listened to probably didn't do it. The guy he listened to probably didn't do it. And then the people who actually did it, just because they report their findings in mainstream news, people for some reason think it's no good. And you're like, why? What has led us down the path? I get that, news, there has been, bogus news, but usually they recant stories or whatever. Or if you read a story, you can at least check the sources or the author or, something. But a lot of the social media, it's like you read it, you see the meme, you believe it because it sounds convincing because it's part of your point of view. And then it's like, all right, that's now your belief. And then social media feeds you the next story because you've already looked at that story, and it's hopeless. You're lost.
Yeah, that's what they call the echo chamber, and
Fuck yeah.
it's hard to escape.
I lost my mom to the echo chamber. She hasn't come back yet.
Sorry to hear that.
I mean, it's kind of a joke now in the family, but like she's full everything. I probably could send her something. I sent her that one meme where it's here are the ingredients in the vaccine, and it's like a bunch of like crazy chemical compounds. And I sent her and I was like, Mom, look what's in the vaccine. She's like, I told you it's fucking crazy. I was like, that's a
Yeah,
banana.
it's like an apple or something. Yeah, I've seen those memes.
Like, that's a fucking banana. She's like, what? I was like, that's the chemical composition of a banana. I sent it to you because I thought it was funny and you believed it. And that's how gullible you are. She went, oh, oh.
So I fight myself every single day not to create a fake Facebook of an old man to join my community group and just do things like that and make those memes and make those jokes as like the 65-year-old man. And just to hide myself from the chaos. But I'm like, I really want to do this because it just seems that side of the internet just sounds so much more fun.
People love it.
I saw a TikTok. I don't know if you're on TikTok. TikTok recently is like, oh, leftist memes are like, compiling about the CIA and actual provable stuff about like military shit. And then you go, this is the right conspiracies, and it's like Jesus on a rocket shooting an AK-47. I'm like, that's what I want to know. Like, that seems way more fun.
It's more fun to talk about.
Yeah, like QAnon first started, I was keeping a tab on it because JFK Jr. was coming back from the dead. Like
he's gonna be the Christ. He's gonna resurrect.
Yeah, like it was the beginning of QAnon was one of the craziest times like on the internet because nobody really knew it when it first started. It was some like weird corner of the internet stuff, and then you had some freaks that were talking about it, like in more of like the podcasting mainstream, and it was just, yeah, JFK Jr. is coming to save the country. I'm like who is? He didn't do shit when he was alive. Like,
why him?
Why him? Like, there's so many questions, and it goes back to like, would you go back to the light? Like, why him? Why you? Like, I don't understand.
I'll tell you something, brother. JFK Jr. They don't want to come back. If they're gone and they're in a better place, they're not coming back.
And guess what? If we're gonna want a Kennedy back, you're from Canada. I don't know if you know this. JFK, RFK, those aren't even the best ones. Their older brother, who died in the war in World War II, he was the one that was supposed to be the prodigal son, the
he was the guy.
Child. Yeah, he died young. Mm-hmm. If we're bringing one back, bring him back. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, he didn't live through all the government corruption. He died fighting the World War.
Well, he died because of family corruption in the World War. That's a very fun thing. So JFK was hailed as like a war hero for doing something. I forgot what he did to be hailed as a war hero. Jack didn't, or his older brother didn't like that. Tried to one-up him, died in the process.
Trying to be more of a war hero?
More of a war hero. Yeah, because they were all vying to be presidents, all three brothers. Like, it's not a healthy sibling relationship to be competing for that office. So you have to do, like, essentially the modern-day version of feats of strength.
But feats of strength involve dire human physical consequences.
Yeah, and sometimes, the wrong kid died.
Wrong kid died. Yeah.
The wrong son died. Do it. All right. We are hitting an hour. Thank you so much for coming on. It was such a fun conversation. I really did enjoy it. I hope people who enjoyed it. You already did your plug, so I'm going to do mine. If you liked me, if you want to hear more of me, you can see me at Twitch at Austin Cant Afford and Instagram at Austin Cant Afford or on Twitter at Austin J Piazza. I had a good tweet today if you want to check it out. It's very funny. But yeah, man, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks, Zell, for coming on. Check out his podcast. It's awesome. It's a rabbit hole. You will get stuck. Fair warning. But it's fun. So enjoy it. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.